Hello, I wanted to share with you my story of astral projection that happened a few years back. I've told the story to close friends and relatives, and then I've realized, you know what? The world should hear this, and other people may have experienced something similar. And so I decided to create this short video and share my experience with you. And so back in 2009, my mother had passed away suddenly in a different country, and I didn't get to say goodbye. This experience by itself changed me as a person because my mother and I were close. We had an amazing relationship. We were close friends. I dare to say she was my best friend. And suddenly, she was gone. It was devastating. It was devastating to my entire family. And we all took our time to grieve, of course. The first year was really tough, and it launched me into studies of spirituality because I wanted to understand what happened and how can I move on from this and feel better. Because generally, I'm the type of person that wakes up in the morning and I'm happy. And at least for the first year after her passing, I wasn't. I was sad, very sad. Cried daily, and it was just really hard to digest. And so I started studying different modalities of spirituality to include Kabbalah. I studied Reiki. I studied meditation and channeling. I currently study Course in Miracles. Her passing happened over 10 years ago. But one thing she left me with is the knowledge of the spiritual world and the curiosity of the spiritual world. During my studies in the first couple years, I really wanted to understand what happened. And one of my teachers, what happened to my mother specifically, and one of my teachers had suggested that I will ask my spirit guides to visit her. And as crazy as it may sound, and probably this is why I never really went on record and told the story, I did it. I did it through meditation. I requested to meet with her. Now, it's not a simple request where you put it in and you get a date set up and you meet. It just happens. And so within the months that I've requested it over and over again, it just happened one night where I had an astral projection and I met my mother on the other side where she is now and probably for eternity. And the way it felt was it was quite amazing. So a little bit of a background. My mother loved to swim. It was her favorite sport. She didn't do it professionally, but it was her favorite sport. She was an excellent swimmer, and she loved being either on the beach, by the sea, or by a pool. And my parents, for many years, had a country club membership. And the country club had, one of the features was a swimming pool. And my mother would often go, they would go at least once or twice a week and just lay by the pool and then jump in and swim and lay by the pool. She just loved doing that. They say when you cross over to the other side, you get to choose the form you want to be in, especially when you meet others. My mother chose to be back in her probably 40s when she was in great shape. She was fit and she lay there on a tanning bed chair. It felt like it was by a beach or by a pool. In her bathing suit, she looked like she was in her 40s. And she was happy. She was just happy. And we started a conversation, and the conversation was very intimate, and I received a lot of information from her about her passing, about where she is now, and that she's in no pain. I will say that although she died suddenly, she was poorly. She was fairly ill for a number of years. And her physical body was failing her, leading to her passing. And she was in no pain and happy, and she looked absolutely magnificent. And she gave me a lot of amazing information that changed my life. And I remember I wanted to stay. And around us, there were, I can't tell you a number. I'm estimating 20, perhaps 30 entities. Some sort of energy. They felt like angels, if you will. And my mother asked me to it's time for you to leave, basically, very politely, by the way. It sounds impolite, but she was very polite about it. And she said constantly, your students await you. You must go. Your students await you. And then the entities repeated the same thing and kind of gently pushed me. Your students await you. Now, for those of you who don't know me personally, I'm a university professor. And I've been teaching, now entering, as I am recording this video, my 13th year of college and university teaching. This is my dream job. This is what I always wanted to do. And I live the dream. I do exactly what I wanted to do all my life, since I was a little child, honestly. You know, when little kids in the playground said, I want to be a fireman, I want to be a policeman, I want to be a university professor. It's a true story. And so I love what I do. I absolutely love what I do. I mean, don't tell this to my dean, but I do my job for free. I needed money, but, you know, we all do. But I absolutely love what I do. And I got reassurance that I am doing what I'm supposed to be doing in this realm, in this lifetime on earth, however you want to call it. And so my mother said it, and the entity said the same thing. Your students await you. You must go. And next thing you know, I wake up, it's morning, probably 8 a.m., and I'm gasping for air. And that's how I just woke up. And the second I woke up, I knew exactly what happened. I knew where I was. I remembered the entire conversation. I'll never forget it. I didn't even have to write it down. And it was an absolutely life-changing experience. Here's a little side funny note for you. As I woke up, perhaps 2 minutes later, there's a knock on the door. And it's my cleaning lady. And this may be a bit too much information, but I sleep naked. And I open the door with my birthday suit on, completely naked. And bless her heart, my cleaning lady, she's like, oh, Oren. I'm like, what? Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. Ran to the room, put a robe on. But I had to sit her down and say, you wouldn't believe what I had experienced. Because I didn't want her to think I'm a pervert, opening the door completely naked. And she says, wow, this is absolutely amazing. Needless to say, my cleaning lady and I stayed really good friends, and she still worked with me here. I don't think we'll ever depart after that experience. But it was quite amazing. I was high naturally on the experience, not on drugs. Probably for a good month, until the effects kind of subsided. But what it gave me, this experience, is not just the peace of mind of where my mother is and that she's no more in pain, but it literally changed my life. A bunch of fears I've had, just like most humans do, had disappeared. One of the biggest fears that disappeared is the fear of death. And so I've experienced it right around the time I turned 40 years old, give or take. And I don't know if it's natural or not, but this was the time that I started thinking, wow, the clock is really ticking. I'm halfway through, my life. If all goes well, if I live till around 80 plus, I've already experienced half my life. What happens when I die, and all the fears that come with it, it completely dissipated. It disappeared. It went away. And it went away because I saw the other side. And I saw what awaits us on the other side. And let me say this, and I'll say it probably at least 2 more times. This doesn't mean, this may sound cultish, but it's not. This doesn't mean that, oh my God, the other side is so much better, we should just offer ourselves and move on. That's not it. This is not the message whatsoever. We have a purpose here. According to the Kabbalah and other spiritual modalities, we signed a contract, not literally, but figuratively, perhaps literally, of the agreement of what we're going to do here. We have our life kind of planned out, and then we descend. And the minute we're born, we forget. And then we go through our life trying to live our life and make what the Kabbalah calls the tikkun. The tikkun is correction in Hebrew. It's free translation of the correction. The tikkun, what it is that we need to do here in this world, on this planet, in this realm. What is our purpose? What is our mission? What things we need to correct? What unsolved problems we need to fix? This is our purpose. We're on a journey here. And it is not our purpose to cut this journey short. In other words, we got to let nature take its course. And when it's time for us to pass on, we pass on. But the difference with my experience, and those of you who had experienced astral projections, which the last research I've read, it's about 1 out of 10 people, you probably know and felt what I felt, that there's just brilliancy waiting on the other side for us. The best way to describe it is, think about the time that you, either the perfect day or the most in love you've ever felt towards something or someone else. Or think about, close your eyes and think about the best day you've ever had, or one of the best days you've ever had, and how you felt. Take that feeling, multiply it by 10 billion. This is what I felt when I visited. This is why I wanted to stay. It's an amazing feeling. Who'd want to give it away? But of course, I had to come back to my physical body, and so I descended back, and here I am now. But the point here is, if you do experience it, and this is what I wanted to share, if you do experience it, it's something you'll remember. This is something you don't forget. And if you don't let your left brain and your ego justify it and rationalize it, as I did for quite some time, I had a little battle in my head. You know, what if my mind is playing tricks on me? What if it's a way for my mind to help me cope with grief? But it's not. I know what I've experienced. I know what I know. I know what I felt. And it was a life-transforming experience. And those of you who had experienced astral projection, I think you can probably, with confidence, say the same thing. Those of you who would like to experience astral projection, simply ask for it. Ask for it. Ask for it in meditation. Ask for it in prayer. Ask for it before you go to bed. And don't make a condition. In other words, don't say something like God or universe, or, you know, if you give me this astral projection, I will go to church every Sunday. This is not how it works, right? It's not a reward system. You just need to ask for it. And there's no guarantee, unfortunately. You may or may not experience it, but it's worth asking. And if you do experience it, share with me, share in the comments. Let me know. I'd love to hear your story. Thanks for listening.